As I said at the top of the show, we're going to talk today about school calendars. In 2004, the General Assembly enacted legislation that significantly altered state law governing public school calendars, basically placing the state in control of every school district's calendar. The law required that schools open no earlier than August 25th and close no later than June 10th, among other rules governing teacher work days. Further changes were inserted in the 2012 Budget Technical Corrections Bill. That increased state mandates on instructional hours and eliminated educational purpose waivers from the calendar laws. A coalition has been working to return more autonomy and authority to local districts, and today we're going to be joined by some representatives of that diverse coalition. And by diverse, we're talking the John Locke Foundation and NCAE arm in arm, skipping into the General Assembly to talk about school calendars. Dr. Terry Stoops, a friend of the show, has been on before, is part of that coalition. We appreciate you being here. Terry's from the John Locke Foundation. And we have Dr. Michael Dunsmore. Michael is the superintendent of Wayne County Schools. So he is truly on the front lines of dealing with calendar issues.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking time to come to the show today. So I want to start with you, Michael. As a school superintendent, I mean, this is obviously right in your face year round. Talk to me about the challenges that you have when you've got sort of these very sort of prescriptive start dates, stop dates, number of hours. What does it do when you're looking at your school calendar as a superintendent?
I think one of the biggest things that's been in the news right off the start this year was the weather with Hurricane Matthew. We lost 8 instructional days because of being out, a lot of folks affected by the hurricane. We can't ever get those back, so even with the adjustments to the calendar, our students lost valuable instructional time preparing for tests, which also brings up the fact of aligning our calendar with the community colleges. We have so many of our students that take college level classes that start 3 weeks before I can start and also end 3 weeks earlier. So in essence, we struggle getting kids in, and then when the year ends, there's nothing left for them.
Right.
So we lose a valuable resource there, and it also affects us locally for our career and tech ed. We can't replicate a lot of the courses that I can send students to the community college for, just as a funding issue also. So it is something that really affects us across the board with all of our students. It's not just our high achieving.
Yeah, that's it. When, in talking to your peers and your colleagues in other schools, as I have in the last few weeks about this issue, that was the community college calendar came up a lot because it is a pretty common. It's not just early college, high schools
Right.
and things. I mean, a lot of students take advantage. Some of it is to get ahead. You've got all sorts of different options that are not available, maybe in your county or not available during the block that you want to take it.
Right.
So it really does give, they're a pretty key partner for the high schools now.
Yeah, they're a huge partner for us, and Wayne Community College is a great partner with us. And as I said, it's our students that are taking college level classes, which are important. It gets them preparing for that next stage of their life, but it's also my career in tech or the vocational students that can go out and take some of those classes that otherwise I can't replicate. I can't put a manufacturing floor that they have like at the community college to start taking those types of classes that students may not go to a 4-year institution, but they're going to go, whether it be an auto mechanic, diesel mechanic, or those types of programs. So it is a huge asset for my families and my students.
Right. Well, Terry, from a policy perspective, I mean, you know what the story's been, and it's not, in North Carolina, it's not unusual. Travel and tourism officials are very effective in making the case that this will be disastrous if we cut into the summer vacation time. You don't seem to be quite as sold on that being as big of a problem.
I'm certainly not. When you look at it nationwide, North Carolina has one of the most restrictive school calendar laws by mandating both a start date and an end date. Some states mandate one or the other or allow districts complete flexibility. So it stands to reason if there were any sort of economic calamities involved with a school calendar flexibility in other states, that they would be rushing to be more like North Carolina and provide greater restrictions on our school calendar, when instead the opposite's the case. States are erring on the side of more flexibility and finding that there aren't the type of economic consequences that are prophesied by those who believe if you give school districts that type of flexibility, that it will compromise the tourism and those other industries that rely on seasonal labor.
Right, and the other thing is kind of curious. I mean, you're firmly in the, I'll say the school choice camp. I mean, a proponent of private school vouchers, charter school expansion. All of those schools are not bound by these laws. So you do have a little bit of a inconsistency in terms of how public schools are treated.
Sure, charter schools have calendar flexibility, and we talk so much about districts learning from charter schools and adopting best practices that we see charter schools have in place. And the calendar is certainly one of them. But here's a situation where the law gets in the way of districts who want to do what charter schools are doing, finding best practices in charter schools when it comes to the school calendar, but are completely prohibited from having the type of innovative approaches to the school calendar that we see in charter schools. And so adoption never happens, and here's another innovation that sits in a charter school and never makes its way to the traditional district system.
Last word from you, Michael. You agree? I mean, it sounds like you just want to have the option. I mean, you're not even sure exactly how it might work best for Wayne County and for your students, but you want the option.
Well, absolutely. I think Terry said it best. What's good for students and best practices we need to offer to everyone. And I think that's key. And it clearly in Wayne County, it would be a definite benefit for my students.
Very good. Excellent. Terry, any final thought? Do you think, I guess, crystal ball, you think we're going to see some changes in this legislative session on calendar?
I think we will. I think the situation with Hurricane Matthew changed the minds of a lot of legislators who are seriously now considering the idea. And I think we have a new influx of legislators who are more receptive to the idea of school calendar flexibility than perhaps in the past. I think we're going to see some movement in this session.
Very good. All right, well, look, we appreciate you both coming here and being on the show today. This is an issue we're definitely going to follow as the session heats up, so thanks for your time.
Thank you.
But when we come back, we're going to be joined by a Wake County parent and an Orange County student who will weigh in on the calendar debate. But first, as we go to break, see if you can answer this question. True or false? Students lose about 2 months of grade level equivalency in mathematical computation skills over the summer months.